Nestled in the heart of Nandi County is the home of Samson and Helen Cherambos, a couple which fondly remembers working with retired President Daniel Arap Moi. Mr. Cherambos, enjoying the pleasure of having served under all the 4 presidents in various capacities, worked with Moi for 8 years, first as head of the GSU G Company, which was tasked with training State House security personnel, and later in 1996 as Presidential Escort Commander.
I think Moi saw me as a man who loved his job, a man who was so open, a man who was not corrupt.
And Moi, having been chairman of the Board of Governors of Moi Girls Eldoret since 1965 until he retired in 2002, Mrs. Cherambos had the pleasure of interacting with the former president for 21 years as principal of the school.
Initially, it made me, have chills and, feel afraid and not know, how to conduct myself. So the first board meeting, the second one, by the third one, I had known what he thought, because while he chaired the board meeting, he would also take an opportunity to say his philosophies.
I remember a time there was a problem in West Pokot. And he said, let's go. We said, we don't know how the situation is in the ground. He said, I'm the head of state, and we must go to the ground. One thing that I learned from Mo is he would go to places where there were problems at a time, and he would solve the problems on the ground.
I learned so much from him. Time management. I'm coming at 10, and on the dot he is there.
Moi would receive information from one corner, but counter-checking again with other sources. That is very unique for Moi.
You can't quite relax if you are a worker and you worked with the kind of person Moi is. He was for, perfection almost.
During the campaign, we went to Ziwa. Then there was a problem. He told me, Mr. Cherambos, I am not happy. So when the president says, I'm not happy for what he had seen, then you get a lot of stress. So we came from Ziwa, he was annoyed, and then he decided and said, let's go to Kericho at around 6. And we were in Eldoret. And as the escort commander, you are responsible for taking care of the president and telling the president exactly what you think is not secure. So when he decided that we leave Eldoret at that time for Kericho, and he had actually given me a brush on what had happened in Ziwa. So I was guilty on the other side. I had stress, and he was telling me, let's go to Kericho. So I had to tell my people, don't put that flash. Take care of yourself. And we traveled like any other person up to Kericho. And we prayed and said, God, thank you. Because it was very serious. To travel with the president at 8 o'clock, it is raining, you have not advised the president, it is not proper. It was serious. I had to consult the director of intelligence.
He would also come, stop by if he had a project running in the school, like a construction. So he would just come randomly. And so I got to know him, and I relaxed because I got to know that he is a gentleman.
The gentleman that Moi was, he spared some time out of his busy schedule and paid a surprise visit to the Cherambos' home.
I think he wanted to know how we were in terms of us, where we were staying, and also trying to know the kind of life we were living in our rural area.
His coming to our home came through my husband, who was working with him, and of course he knew I'm his wife, and so it was coincidence.
Apart from that, there was a time after retirement. He went for a funeral in Maraba, and he told the people he's passing here for lunch, and he came for lunch. You see, when the president visits your home, the pride in you is so high.
With fond memories of a man who crafted an image of being the professor of politics, Cherambos, who was then chairman of Kenya Airport Authority after having resigned as escort commander 4 months earlier, expressed disappointment at the way the political transition in 2002 was handled.
One thing that is surprising, that made me really feel so hard, is when we came to the Uhuru Park, just before entering, I saw some youth, hanging on a police lorry. And there were a lot of chaotic things. And I said, why should I go to the field? And things were not good. I only came to see what had happened through the media. For a president who had served for 24 years and he was not refusing to leave the office, to be accorded such a send-off.
Time does indeed heal. We accord special gratitude to the man who ruled Kenya for 24 years. Joy Kiruki Juma, K24.